Don't forget to like and subscribe to follow good stories. Damien continuously provoked Johannes. You've finally shown up, Johannes. You ran off without a trace. I thought you were dead. The former crown prince stood before Damien, holding a gun pointed at him. Damien sneered. I've missed you all this time. Johannes furrowed his brow at that statement. You missed me? Bang, bang, bang. Gunshots echoed through the room, blood splattering across the cabinet behind them, with droplets falling onto the floor. Johannes' shot had hit Damien in the shoulder, but Damien dismissed it as a minor wound, speaking casually. My, after all this time, this is how you greet me. Johannes then glanced back and signaled to his men. Immediately, one of them grabbed Damien by the hair. Johannes laughed mockingly. Just look at yourself. It's a shame I'm the only one who gets to witness the invincible Damien This kneel at my feet. He then pointed the gun at Damien. So, where's the woman? I'd like to repay her for bringing you here. Damien replied nonchalantly. Well, I'm afraid that while you were shooting at me, I hid her somewhere safe. I'm the considerate husband, you know? Hearing this, Johannes gritted his teeth and hissed. Ugh, even when covered in blood, you boast. You've no idea how low you've sunk by marrying that worthless woman. How dare you? How dare you ignore me? Chloe, hearing this, tried to step out, but Sophie stopped her. The little girl shook her head repeatedly, tears brimming in her eyes. Chloe recalled Damien's instructions. Remember, courage isn't about acting on impulse, it's about holding back and maintaining reason. If you love me, be brave for me, my love. Outside, Johannes was panting heavily, sweat pouring down his face. Damien seemed to have lost consciousness. Johannes ordered his men to take Damien away. One of them dragged Damien's body across the floor, leaving a long trail of blood. A while later, when things seemed quiet, Sophie peeked through the door and whispered to Chloe, I think they're gone now, Miss Claire. Both of them stepped out of the cabinet. Chloe noticed the blood trail on the floor that she accidentally stepped on. Sophie, trembling with fear, stared at the aftermath of the earlier confrontation. Chloe's heart sank, unsure of what had happened to Damien. She was overwhelmed, not knowing what to do. Damien must have surrendered to get Sophie and her out of here. She had become his weakness. And Damien was injured. Even if the shots weren't fatal, there's no guarantee he'll survive now that he's been captured. Thinking of this, she clenched the necklace around her neck tightly. What should she do now? At that moment, Sophie pointed to some writing on the floor. Miss Claire, look at that writing. What does it say? Damien had left a message for her. Expect a gift, my love. Tears welled up in Chloe's eyes as she remembered his words. Chloe, if anyone dares mock you, I swear on the This name I shall sever their head and present it to you. Chloe sobbed uncontrollably, calling Damien's name. By the time Chloe and Sophie arrived back home, night had fallen. Sophie's parents were both extremely worried for their daughter. Sophie's mother broke into tears as soon as she saw her. Sophie, oh, my baby, you know I can't live without you. I heard gunshots and you were nowhere to be seen. I was worried sick. Seeing this scene, Chloe's heart grew heavier. She was about to speak when Sophie's father, holding a newspaper, turned to her and said, I found this newspaper while looking for Sophie at the neighbor's house. What exactly is going on? Mr. Taylor, or rather, who exactly are you two? Chloe was silent for a moment before responding. I'll explain everything later, Mr. Ricardo, but right now, please help me find the fastest means of transportation. He was startled, as so suddenly. Where do you need to go? Chloe began to think. Think, Chloe. For the fugitive Prince of Swannon to stay in the duchy, he must have needed someone's help. Someone willing enough to help him. Someone who harbors just as much hatred for Swannon as he does. The next move I need to make. I need to get to the capital of the duchy, to the royal palace. I must meet their king immediately. The train began to move. Inside one of the train's compartments, two familiar attendants of Damien spoke up. Our sincerest apologies, Your Majesty, for your tardiness. Chloe responded, I see you're here as well, Count Cromier. With both of you here, Damien must have anticipated this situation to some extent. Count Cromier bowed his head. Yes, His Majesty is rather meticulous. If things go awry, we shall escort you to Swanton. Chloe interrupted. Right, and because of just how meticulous he is, he would never allow his life to end so pitifully in a foreign land. Clenching the hem of her dress tightly, Chloe continued, Together, we will save him. The sun cannot set this soon in Swanton. I, Queen of Swanton and acting monarch, intend to meet the King of Carter. Chloe was resolute. She would not allow herself to become Damien's weakness. Night fell upon the castle. Inside a desolate room, Chloe sat upright on a chair. The man before her approached, speaking as he did. I see we're joined by a very esteemed guest. What brings you here so late at night? The man stepped out, his neck covered with kiss marks, shirtless, revealing his muscular physique. Chloe stood up. It's been a while. I believe this is the first time we're meeting on such formal grounds. As she spoke, she extended her hand, but the neighboring king crossed his arms instead. That's odd. Have we ever met informally before? He smirked. Was it that evening? Well, in any case, welcome to the Duchy of Carter. Chloe thanked him for the greeting. He sat down and replied, no need to thank me. So, what's so urgent that you had to interrupt my sweet honeymoon? Chloe got straight to the point. Tell me the whereabouts of Johannes. That traitor. Huh. A traitor, you say? Isn't the real traitor someone else? Someone with a much darker heart. Someone who betrayed his own cousin and took his place. Chloe frowned at his words. You seem to be misinformed. A traitor is someone who, during a plague that caused an entire nation to suffer, fled to save only himself. That's what I call a traitor. Not someone who calmed that angry populace through fair negotiations and rightfully succeeded the throne. King Carter, holding his teacup, began to respond. While that may be true, Chloe cut him off. Johannes attacked His Majesty and me while we were in Genevois, and he is now in hiding, holding His Majesty captive. While Chloe's heart was burning with urgency, her counterpart was calm and leisurely, sipping tea as he said, My, you must be very worried. Chloe's temper flared, her voice sharpening. Even if Johannes harms him, he won't be able to return to Swanton and reclaim the throne. And why not? He asked mockingly. Chloe continued, because someone with the same spirit as Damien will rise and dethrone him too. And who might that be? It could be anyone. House This believes the most capable person should rule, regardless of status, sex, or physical limitations, and normalizing trade with Swanton wouldn't be bad for the duchy. Even if Johannes does ascend the throne, he'll soon have to abdicate. And if relations between our countries deteriorate, it'll be the people who suffer. Hearing Chloe's reasoning, King Carter pondered for a moment. I see. I acknowledge the validity of your words. Chloe's heart lifted briefly, but he continued. But I'm afraid I cannot answer your question regarding Johannes' whereabouts. Since you've come all this way, why not enjoy some tea before you go? Though it seems the refined lady of Swanton didn't find the first cup to her taste and let it go cold. Chloe was taken aback by his attitude. I thought you understood. Is there a need for you to protect Johannes? He laughed loudly. Haha. This is starting to feel like an interrogation. You might not fully understand, so I'll try to answer delicately. Simply put, the people of Swanton are just too insufferable. Seeing his dismissive attitude, Chloe began to think, no matter what I say, I can't convince him. Should I get on my knees and beg? But would that even work? What should I do? If Damien were here, he would likely not approve of her kneeling, for she was a queen. She needed to focus on his weakness. Slowly, thinking of his weak point, she spoke. Alice. The man froze upon hearing that name. Chloe continued. I'd like to see my sister. Will Chloe succeed in rescuing Damien from Johannes' grasp? Don't forget to like and subscribe to Reven Manhwa to follow the story Betrayal of Dignity.